Brought to you by Penguin.
The Land Girls at Christmas by Jenny Holmes. Read by Janine Birkett. Chapter 1.
Can you believe it? You need 18 coupons for a decent winter coat. And 7 for a pair of shoes. It'll get worse before it gets better. I hear they're thinking of cutting us back to 48 coupons for the whole year. Blimey, we'll all be in rags by this time next year.
The bus from Millwood rattled along country lanes, up hill and down dale, while Una Sharp listened to the humdrum complaints of other passengers. She swayed in her seat and looked steadfastly out of the window at the dull brown moors rolling away into the distance, trying in vain to put to the back of her mind memories of busy, bustling streets lined with cinemas and shops, of smoking mill chimneys overlooking snaking canals. It was wartime, and it was goodbye to all that. "Countryside, here we come." "Bye-bye, Una," her brother Tom had called as he saw her off from the bus station. "Be good." Dressed in her new uniform of brown corduroy breeches and green jumper under her short khaki overcoat, she'd waved and tried her best to look cheerful for his sake. Inwardly, she quaked in her stout lace-up shoes. What have I done? She wondered. What had she done? The question still nagged at her as the bus trundled on. It gave way on a narrow, winding road to a lumbering tractor, paused to drop off passengers at the end of a farm lane, and waited in a lay-by for a horse-drawn cart piled high with mud-encrusted turnips to pass. "I've answered the call, that's what I've done."
"Calling all women."
On a stifling hot day in the August of 1941, words on a poster outside the Millwood Town Library had drawn Una in off the dusty street. It had been the middle of a heatwave. Headlines in the Daily Mail crowed over HMS Sevens sinking an Italian submarine in the Med. In smaller print, people were urged to dig for victory and not to mind about the shortage of razor blades, babies' feeding bottles and frying pans, not to mention clothes to keep you warm once winter came. Why should it only be the Millwood men who join the war effort? She'd wondered. Why couldn't it be the women too? Why not her, Una Sharp, 20 years old, and the youngest of 5? 3 of her brothers had already enlisted, 2 into the Merchant Navy and 1 into the Army, with only Tom at home because of a bad accident at work in Kingsley's Mill that had left him with one arm paralysed. Apart from him, there was no one to object to her leaving home, no mother or father. They were both a long time dead. And no sweetheart either. In other words, she was fancy-free. In a spirit of daring-do, she'd marched into the library and asked to see the latest copy of the Land Girl magazine. "Here you are, love." The librarian had slid a copy of the magazine across the counter. "Calling all women," shouted the front page. Inside, there were photos of land girls in action. Smiling girls, picking apples and others atop hay wagons. The weather was sunny, and everyone was smiling. "Give me a job where you can see results," was the clarion call. There were knitting patterns too, a cake recipe using powdered egg, a short story and a crossword competition. It showed the enamelled Land Army badge, with a wheat sheaf at its centre inside a gold circle topped by a red and gold crown. Una remembered now that she'd been particularly smitten by that badge.
"Don't get too excited,"
the middle-aged librarian had counselled, having taken a good look at the small, slight girl with dark auburn hair and lively hazel eyes standing across the counter from her. "It'll be a while before you're old enough to join up and do your bit." Una.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?